Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Kind of getting in the swing of these weekend programs now. It's kind of fun. Now, one of the differences, we don't have interviews on the weekends. Instead, you get a bonus scoop. So we got a second scoop of the day coming your way here in a bit. Have you ever wondered why most umbrellas are black? Have you ever noticed that? When umbrellas go up, a lot of people have black umbrellas. Have you ever even noticed it?
We don't really use a lot of umbrellas in this area.
Yeah,
I hardly
know,
ever see an umbrella.
But when they do, there's a lot of black umbrellas, and here is why. It's nothing more than the byproduct of the way things used to be made. The umbrellas back in the day, in the 18th century, were cotton cloth. In order to make them waterproof, they had to soak them in an oil that left the fabric really dark, and it was, easier to make them black than any other color. So custom and tradition, what it is, that kind of became the natural color for umbrellas. Nowadays, they're made out of like any color. You could make them any color, but it's because for so many years they were black that was like the standard.
Huh?
So, there you go.
Interesting.
And now you know. Coming up, we got some special things happening this weekend. We'll tell you what in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Well, today's a very special day. This whole weekend is good. So on Saturday, it's Insomnia Awareness Day. It's also,
I struggle with that.
It's not insomnia. What is this? Anosmia. What is that?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
You don't. Insomnia is you can't sleep. This is I can't read, so I'm not sure what that is. International Polar Bear Day, International Sword Swallowers Day, Open That Bottle Night, and U.S. Snowshoes Day. Sunday, Floral Design Day, National Tooth Fairy Day, and Rare Disease Day. So it's a special weekend. Got a lot of interesting things going on.
There you go.
Of all of those, what do you think that I would celebrate?
Open That Bottle Day.
There you go. That sounds good. I'm going to open that bottle, and then I'll drink whatever's in there with the Tooth Fairy. How's that sound?
Sure.
Let's celebrate. Coming up, we got a special segment of what you hear on the radio, and it'll be true. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Have you ever been accused of screaming, "Are you blind?" to a motorist that pulls out in front of you?
Yes.
I've heard you do that. What is going on? Are you blind? Well, there was a recent driver in Germany that could have said, "Yeah, of course I am." The police in Germany saw a car weaving slowly down a street. They discovered the driver was blind. He told the police he always wanted to drive, so he borrowed.
Oh my gosh!
So he borrowed a car and just took it for a spin. He insisted he was being extremely careful and assured the police that he was taking it in stages by driving only a few feet and then stopping.
Oh my gosh!
Then he would get out and walk around the car and check for obstacles. Then he would drive a few more feet. He had gone about 50 feet before callers noticed that there was a blind man driving and called the police.
Wow!
This happened in Germany. I remember a few years ago at the Super Bowl, Stevie Wonder drove a car out to the center stage. Remember that?
Okay,
it was
he
like
was
a
in a
32
car.
Ford
I don't
or
think
something
he
like that.
drove the car.
Well,
they
I
made it
understand.
look like he did,
but
no, he did not.
It was a cool little hot rod of some kind. Somebody's probably hearing, "Oh no, it wasn't a 32 Ford, whatever it was." It was a neat little car. He was in it, and it looked as though he was driving it out to the stage, and then it stopped, and he got out and walked up. I thought that was really kind of a neat thing. Because, this driver, this guy in Germany, was just saying, "Hey, I've always wanted to drive, so I borrowed a car and I did it." If I were blind and I never had a chance to drive, I'd want to do that. But what they should do is they shouldn't have let them do this on a street. They should have said, "Hey, let's go to this big
But
empty
he didn't ask
parking lot."
anybody. He just went.
He borrowed somebody's car.
Yeah, probably without them knowing.
You mind if I take your car for a spin? Sure. Wait a minute. Aren't you blind? So I think it's really cool. And like I said, if I were blind, I would want to be able to do that too. I would just make sure that he said he did it very carefully. He was getting out and making sure everything was safe. So, interesting story. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the police kind of think this might be an easy one this case might be an easy one to crack. Here's why. They're searching for a man who attempted to steal a bottle of rum and some soft drinks at a local Lewis drug store. The man was described as being about 20 years old. So far, that describes a lot of people.
Okay.
20 years old. Over 6 feet tall, so we're starting to narrow
That
it down.
narrows it down.
About 300 pounds. That narrows it down even more. And he was wearing a black dress.
Okay.
Yeah, I said he was wearing a black dress. His escape was in a tiny little four-door Kia, a red four-door Kia. That's a tiny little car for a big, big guy. So they're looking for a big guy in a little car wearing a dress.
Nice. And he attempted. I wonder why he didn't get away with it.
know.
How did he not
I have
walk
no
out
clue.
with it?
He attempted to steal some rum and some soft drinks, and apparently, I don't know how he didn't make that out with those things, but apparently he didn't make it. Coming up, we got a fun moment of duh. That's on your way.
John and Heidi.
Hey, if you're ever on the lam, like you don't want to get caught, you're on the run, you might not want to be an extra in a movie. Just a thought there.
Yeah.
A while back, Italy's Martino Galbardi, I probably didn't say any of that right, he withdrew $75,000 from his family's bank account and then vanished with his girlfriend.
Wow.
His wife hired a detective to find her 45-year-old husband, but to no avail. However, a friend of the wife was watching a movie and saw him and the girlfriend in the background of a scene. They found out where the movie was shot. It was in the Dominican Republic, and his wife had him tracked down and began the legal proceedings to get the money back. So
Good for her.
She doesn't want him back. She's like, you can stay there with your girlfriend, but you took our money, so no,
Right.
you
Good
can't
for
do
her.
that. So if you were on the lam and hiding out, why would you be in the background of a scene for a movie? That's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad he got caught. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. It's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Billionaire philanthropist David Rubenstein is making a gift of $18.5 million to fix up the Lincoln Memorial. Now, I have not been to the Lincoln Memorial. Is it in rough shape?
I don't know. I didn't know it was. If it is,
$18.5 million to fix it, so it must be in really rough shape. Kendall and Kylie Jenner have released a new mobile game.
Oh, yay.
So I don't know what that is, but I already can't wait to not play it. Hey, a new survey reveals civility in America continues to disintegrate. Rude behavior is becoming the new normal. Today, 70% of Americans believe that incivility has reached crisis proportions.
I would agree with that.
Americans say they encounter incivility more than 2 times a day on average. So people being, where they shouldn't even
Just
be
being rude.
in the
Yeah.
population. Just being mean, being rude, being nasty, at least twice a day. A jobless man was caught trying to break into a prison in Brazil because he believed he would have a better life behind bars than he would on the streets being free.
How sad is that? Just get yourself arrested then.
Well, he claimed he had committed a robbery, and nobody arrested him. A police spokesperson said Grossi, that was his last name, was extremely happy when the officers found out he really was wanted for a robbery. But despite his efforts, he will be released in the next few days and have to do the rest of his sentence in the community as community service. So he's saying, hey, just
poor
lock
guy.
me up. I want to go to jail forever and ever. So that's happening in Brazil. They must have better prisons there than, I don't know, they must not be
I
bad.
think even our prisons are pretty darn good.
I don't know. Never been there. Here's 2 valuable lessons for aspiring bank robbers. First, don't rob a bank, period. Second, definitely don't rob one that's in the same building as a police station. And even third, don't hire a getaway driver who's a music lover, because the dude was, would have been really good advice for these guys. This was in Vernon, British Columbia. 53-year-old robber was inside pulling the heist. His 20-year-old accomplice was in the car listening to the radio. Unfortunately, by the time the robber returned with the loot, the car wouldn't start because the battery died. He was listening to the radio so long, he ran the battery dead.
Wow.
The pair was captured at a nearby bakery, which was also a popular hangout for the police, so they were easy to find. And the very day that a North Carolina man walked out of prison on parole for robbery of a convenience store, guess what he did?
What's that?
He went to a store about a mile from his home, and for some strange reason, he was going to rob it again. It was the same one. Maybe because he didn't do it right the first time and got caught, but before going to the store, he placed a paper bag over his hand, pretending to have a gun. He demanded money from the clerk who knew him personally and called him by name. Plus, the whole scene was caught on tape on their surveillance system. He was arrested 1 hour later and most likely will not get parole again. So he was out on parole, and then he robbed the same store that he got caught robbing the first time. This is not a smart man we're talking about here. Hey, a prison director in China is out of a job after it was discovered that the inmates had rigged up some sort of internet connection in their cells, and they gave themselves air conditioning. They rerouted the air conditioning ducts to their cells.
Smart guys.
The internet and AC were being used in about 6 cells, and it had gone unnoticed for several months. Now the director of that prison in China is out of a job. They're saying, if you can't even notice that, maybe you're not doing a good job.
Smart criminals.
The Center for Disease Control reports only about 65% of adults get 7+ hours of sleep, the minimum amount recommended. Guess which state gets the most sleep?
I have no clue.
My home state of South Dakota.
Yeah.
72% get at least 7 hours. Guess which state gets the least amount of sleep?
Vegas.
No. Well, Vegas is not a state, but no, it's not even.
Nevada.
It's Hawaii. Yeah, so much to do. Hey, time for a strange law.
Really? Hawaii gets the least amount of sleep? You would
sleep.
think they would get more. It's supposed to be very laid back,
but
relaxed.
They don't need to rest. Hey, why rest when I could be drinking a pina colada or something? Strange law. Massachusetts law prohibits gorillas from riding or even sitting in the back seat of a car.
Well,
They don't want any monkey
makes
business
sense.
going on there. That is a very strange law. And this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Now it's time for your bonus scoop. I love this. On the weekends, you get a second scoop for the Scoop of the Day. And this one's an interesting story because I'm not exactly sure what their plans were. But Powerball winners David Klatschmidt and Maureen Smith kept everybody in the dark about their life-altering win, even their children.
Oh.
The couple was married back in the 1980s, early 80s. They're originally from Long Island, New York. Smith bought the golden ticket at a Publix supermarket in Melbourne, Florida, using numbers that she's, quote, played for years. They decided to take the $327 million lump sum.
Wow.
That's before taxes. So
Right.
afterwards they get $10. No, it's not that bad. But the $327 million lump sum is what they took. Klatschmidt is retiring from his mechanical engineering job, buying a new truck because his old one's falling apart. Smith still hasn't worked out her first splurge, although she says, I do think I want to get a massage. You can probably get one.
nice.
But they were keeping this from their family. They didn't even tell their own kids because they're like, you know what, let's wait. Let's just wait. I don't know if we want to do that yet. So
Well, I could see that if they wanted to keep it quiet until all the money was placed securely
Yeah.
and where it needed to be before everybody
see that,
found
too.
out and came with their hands out asking for
yeah, hey mom,
money.
you got $1 million
And if
bucks
the
I can
kids
borrow?
told all their friends at school, then it wouldn't
Yeah.
take long for it to get to everybody else. So
It
I
could.
could totally see
Yeah.
that.
All right, this next story has me confused, and I'm going to ask you if you know what the heck this means. It says, first, still sticking with your New Year's resolution to lose weight? That part doesn't have me confused because most people would probably say, yeah, that's been done for a long time. But this is the line that confuses me. Oprah's still eating bread, and we can't give up pizza. But there's a trick to eating less pizza. Stop right there. Oprah's still eating bread. What does that even mean?
I have no clue. Who cares?
Oprah's eating
It's
bread?
Oprah. Who cares?
Did she give up bread? Or
I
I'm
don't
not exactly sure. So you don't know what that means either?
I don't know what that means.
All
I
right.
don't care what that means. I don't like Oprah.
I actually went back to see if I deleted something. I thought maybe I deleted something when I copied this story, and I'm like, no, I still don't get it. All right, so there's a trick to eating less pizza. When you make your order for your next pizza, ask them to cut it into twice as many pieces. Say, how many pieces is that? If they say, well, it's 8, say, can you do me a favor and cut each of those in half and make it 16 so it goes further? Because here's what they found from a study. When you place it on a large table and cut in smaller pieces, most people will eat 50% less. They'll eat the same number of pieces, but they'll eat, since they're cut in half,
if you're
half
eating-
as much pizza.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that
according to
makes
a new
sense.
study, and it holds true. So
I could see that.
We should try that. That's a neat idea.
Or you could just cut it in extra pieces yourself when you get it home.
I don't know how to do all that. What do I guess? Do I look like some sort of smart guy? I don't have no saws in my house. So you don't need saws for pizza?
No.
Okay. Hey, turkeys are becoming more and more aggressive with mail carriers. This is like the
Turkeys?
third or fourth story from around the country, and they're becoming the mail carrier's worst nightmare. A flock of aggressive turkeys prompted a postmaster in Hilldale, New Jersey, to call 911. He needed help. The turkeys surrounded the mail carrier's truck and even attempted to bite him.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, police were able to assist the mail carrier in scaring the turkeys away by simply walking towards them. So they saw the cops coming and like, get out of here, quick. That guy's got a gun and a taser. I would just love to see them tase a turkey. I'm just saying. I shouldn't even say that. That's mean. But these
You're going to have all those
these
PETA
turkeys,
people calling.
these turkeys are going nuts on the postmaster. And every year, like every day, it said how many
I wonder
people.
why the post office. I wonder
I
why
don't
they
know.
or how they even.
Well, this guy's going around delivering mail. He's trying to get out of his vehicle, and somebody has a bunch of turkeys wild turkeys in their neighborhood. And go online, and if you look on YouTube, you'll see video after video of a lot of incidents with crazy turkeys chasing people.
That's
So,
crazy.
Apparently, they're upset about the whole Thanksgiving thing still. Sorry, guys. All right. Hey, a car thief in England was caught after a closed-circuit TV surveillance camera photographed him going through the drive-thru at McDonald's in the stolen vehicle. So, yeah, he was caught because he was, driving around in the stolen vehicle, eating McDonald's and such. And we're going to wrap up our bonus scoop with the theater movies for the weekend. Critics are liking The Witch. They're saying that that's going to be a good one.
I've heard that was amazing.
But the question is, will it be strong enough to move Deadpool out of the number one spot? Deadpool,
probably not. Deadpool's doing very well.
It's getting really good. We've not seen it. Our son has, and this is the thing. I got a bone to pick with you, young man. We were all going to go together. Remember that? You were there when we made plans to go together, and then he went with his friends
That's
instead.
all right. It's fine.
All right. If you want to go check out theaters this weekend, there's some new movies. One is called The Witch. It's rated R with Anya Taylor, Joy, Ralph Ineson, and Kate Dickey. I don't know who these people are. Risen is another one, PG-13, I believe. It says PG-3, but I think it's supposed to be PG-13. Joseph Phineas and Tom Felton. And then The Race, I think this will be interesting. PG-13, Stephen James and Jason Sudeikis. And I've never seen him in a role that wasn't a comedy role. So this is a serious and based on a true story. Should be interesting. That's in theaters this weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Did you know that New Jersey is responsible for growing 2/3 of the world's supply of eggplants? So for those of you who love eggplants, you love New Jersey.
So what? They grow four eggplants in New
Apparently.
Jersey?
2/3 of the world's supply, so they grow 8 of them. Somebody else said. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The strike note of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia is E flat. For those of you that have ever wondered.
Super.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Earth radiates back into space just as much heat as it receives from the sun. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And it makes sense when you think about it, because if we didn't, we would steadily rise in temperature and, we'd all, get too hot. So however much sun heat comes to us, it also bounces back out into space. Otherwise, we just keep heating up. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Orson Welles is buried in an olive orchard.
Really?
A friend of his had an olive orchard, and he asked to be buried there, and that's where they put him. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is fun fact number 809, and you can see it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. The ancient Incas measured time in potatoes instead of hours and minutes.
Really?
Yeah, they marked the time that it took to boil a potato, and
Maybe
that was
that's
the
why
length
we
of
say
time.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4.
Don't know. I never thought of it before, but that absolutely could be. Probably not, but that's how the Incas did it. So next time you're boiling a potato, that's the amount of time that they would.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
There's some fun facts for you. Coming up, we have odd college courses. We'll share those in a bit.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that'll help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. We have a son that just graduated from high school last year, and he's taken off for the Navy here in just like a week and a half. It's so hard for us. But there are a lot of people who their kids took off to go to college. Now, if you have a kid that's going to college, you might just want to double-check their college courses, because some of these courses are just dumb. So you ready for some odd college courses?
Sure.
You can boldly go where no other philosophy student has gone before in Georgetown University's Philosophy of Star Trek.
What on
Why
earth
would you do
you
that?
do with that?
I don't know. Number 2 on the list, discover how Brick really felt when Opal left him. Daytime serials, family and social roles. So this is at the University of Wisconsin. It's like a daytime soap opera thing.
Wow.
So you can take a course on that. Not exactly sure how you can apply that to your real life to actually make a living to pay off the debt, but there you go. If you've been long researching how hot dogs and theme parks and 5-day work weeks have impacted America, there is a course at the University of Iowa called the American Vacation.
What?
Yeah, that's a course you can get credits for taking. The Bowdoin College students can delve into the horror film in context.
Okay, now that's a class I would take,
but
only
it's
because
still-
I would enjoy it, but...
If you're going to school to be a filmmaker, yes, but I don't know why you'd have that otherwise. Williams College students can learn about the cement shoe industry, the comparative history of organized crime. Yeah, so they will learn about organized crime. Why
Wow.
would you need that course?
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're going to take over the mob when you're done. I'm not sure. If you've got a romantic urge, check out the Baynard College course, The Road Movie. They study Easy Rider and Thelma and Louise and On the Road. They literally just study movies where they were on the road. But that's a course.
Okay.
7 on the list is American Degenerates from Brown University. They talk about how early British American writers embraced grotesque, monstrous, not our kind status. So it's talking about American Degenerates. A couple more on the list here. Purdue University has Death in the 19th Century. Center College in Danville, Kentucky has Art of Walking. You can learn to walk.
Oh, that's super.
And the top of the list, and this is just ridiculous, this is at the Rhode Island School of Design, the Art of Sin and the Sin of Art class. So you can learn how to sin, and then you learn how to make that
And
into
just
art.
think, people are spending thousands and
Hard-earned.
thousands of dollars and going into debt for the rest of their lives
these-
for classes like this.
Well, I got a degree. What is your degree
Yeah.
in? Well, I the art of walking. They taught me how to walk. There's actually
Wow.
the professor takes you on a walk through the neighborhood with his dog in that class.
That's super.
Yeah, and he gets paid for this, Heidi. We've clearly missed our calling. Coming up in a bit, we've got the secrets to a longer life. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Thanks for tuning in on this weekend. We appreciate you joining us here for the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show. I have the secrets to a longer life.
All right.
If you want to add 14 years to your life, all you have to do is make these 4 changes. Now, there's no guarantee, of course, but this is from a 13-year study in Britain. None of the participants had heart disease or cancer at the start of the study, and this was in 1993. Every person's blood was tested to measure their vitamin C intake, an indicator of how much fruit and veggies they were eating. Each person was assigned a score between 0 and 4, with 1 point given for each of the healthy behaviors. So what are the 4 secrets to the longer life? Number 1, don't smoke, period. Ever. Don't smoke. Number 2, eat 5 servings a day of fruits and veggies. I said 5. That's a lot. Number 3, don't drink alcohol. Or if you do drink it in moderation. So drink alcohol in moderation or not at all. And the last on the list, exercise regularly. 30 minutes a day. 1 out of 4 isn't bad, right? I don't smoke. I don't eat that much veggies. I don't drink, I guess. I got 2 because I drink in moderation, but I don't get the exercise. So 2 out of 4. I'm halfway there. So that means I'm only going to live like an extra, 7 years. Probably not. Coming up, can you imagine getting beaten up for not kissing a girl? Yeah, that happened. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This is a weird story. A 15-year-old girl from Illinois was recently charged with battery because she beat up her boyfriend. You know why?
Why?
Because he wouldn't kiss her.
Okay.
The girl gave the young man a walloping that left him with 2 black eyes. The young man told police, "I didn't fight back because I was taught to not hit a woman." The girl confessed to the judge that, "Yeah, I need to control my temper." But he literally got beat up for not kissing a girl. The girl wouldn't kiss. Now, I've heard of, people getting beat up for trying to kiss a girl. I wanted to give her a smooch, and she didn't want that, so she smacked me upside the head.
Well, they were clearly having a fight when she tried to get a kiss, and he wouldn't do that.
He's like,
so
I don't want to kiss. So she beat the snot out of him. So it's just really weird because you don't hear that very often. So somehow the police got involved. So I don't know if he called the police or she called the police or maybe just a bystander felt bad for him and called the police. But
here's something else you probably won't hear very often, especially from a woman. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from this, from feminists. But I think that if you hit a man, first, if you have hit a man, harmed a man in any way, that man has every right in the world to defend himself. Every right in the world. If you are going to harm someone physically, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman.
So
if you're going to harm someone,
for her to hit him and then say, "Hey, you
and
can't
then have
hit
him
me."
say, "You can't hit. He can't hit a girl."
I see
I'm
what
sorry,
you're
but
saying.
you hit him,
I see.
and he has a right to defend himself. So he absolutely should have beat her.
Tell me how you really feel, Heidi. I think it's time to move on. Good news for husbands, your wife is helping you live longer. My wife is making me really wonder if I should put her on the radio anymore. It's all on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
If you're married, you might want to stay married because your wife is actually helping you live longer. This is kind of cool, isn't it?
Sure.
Scientists have confirmed now what happily married couples have known for a long, long time, that a good marriage can bring you a long, healthy life. Married couples in a good relationship live up to 5 years longer than their unmarried cohorts. They suffer fewer colds and infections. They have lower blood pressure overall, lower levels of cancer, lower levels of flu and Alzheimer's and depression. Researchers at Ohio State University did a recent discovery that their wounds even heal as much as 40% quicker if you're happily married. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I cut my finger this morning. It's already healed up. Look at that. Boom. Just like healed. Popped right back. I must be happily married. There is one downside, though, to the domestic bliss. You know what that downside is?
What's that?
The Department of Health and Human Services found that married people tend to have a larger waistline.
Yep,
And
that's
they weigh
for sure.
somewhere to the tune of 5 pounds more. Well,
5.
I must be really happily married.
Wow.
Take that 5 times 10, and I think we're getting close. Take that 5 times 20, and we're right in the ballpark.
I would be thrilled to be only 5 pounds heavier.
Yeah, well, so they're saying if you're married, you can blame your long, happy life on your wife. But if you're overweight, you can also blame that on your wife as well. So thanks a lot, Heidi.
You're welcome.
I think we're pretty happily married. It's funny
most
because
of the time.
we get in arguments every once in a while, and it's usually over the dumbest stuff, isn't it?
Usually.
Sometimes it's
Sometimes it can be kind of serious.
But usually it's the dumbest thing. Getting an argument about just the dumbest things. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to be talking about Tim Tebow for our good news. That is on the way. Thank you so much, by the way, for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a weekend.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and I found something today that I think is good news, and I've actually been a part of one of these. This is a really cool thing. Former NFL quarterback and outspoken Christian Tim Tebow and his Tim Tebow Foundation have now held over 200 proms. And these are proms. It's called the Tim Tebow Night to Shine, I think is what it's called.
These are really neat.
And they've done over 200 of them now for people with special needs in 48 different states, 7 different countries. According to the Huffington Post, the event is called Night to Shine. It encourages people with physical and mental disabilities to enjoy a night of music, dancing, and all-around fun. According to Tim Tebow's foundation, 32,000 people formally attended the events, in a combination of 70,000 volunteered to help make these things happen. Tebow, now an SEC network analyst, surprised some of the attendees by personally showing up to their proms.
Aw.
How cool is that?
That is cool.
He did not come to the one that we were at. And I was actually a part of it last year. We didn't get to do it this year.
We didn't. We had a death in the family,
Yeah,
so
we
we
had
had to be at a funeral
at
that
the
night.
same exact
I
time.
had signed up. I was going
It
to
was-
volunteer, and then
If you get the opportunity,
couldn't.
people, if you get the opportunity to go to be a volunteer to help, let me tell you, you will get more out of this than the people that are attending. They come and have a blast, and it was so awesome just to see how happy everybody was. It was just the coolest thing ever. And I walked out of there just smiling from ear to ear and said, I will do that every single year. And like I said, sadly, we missed it this year. We had a funeral to go to, but I'm looking forward to doing it again next year. It's called A Night to Shine, and huge thank you to Tim Tebow and his foundation for putting these on all around the country. It's just such a cool thing.
very cool.
Really, really cool. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a weekend.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break now. Death Valley in California is one of the world's most inhospitable places.
Really?
But it's wooing photographers.
That surprises me. The name is so welcoming.
Yeah, it's wooing photographers with a display of more wildflowers than they've had in over a decade, thanks to October's rainfall. The American Kennel Club announced... Wait a minute. Oh, these are two different stories.
I was going to say, what's the Kennel Club have to do with the flowers?
Oh, so they got pretty flowers. End story. New story. The American Kennel Club has announced their top dog breed. For the 25th year in a row, the Labrador Retriever has made the number one spot. The Labrador Retriever. Number
25
one dog.
years in a row?
25 years in a row.
Holy cow.
When is our dog going to make the top spot? Never? What do you guys got against our dog, huh? An Australian woman was experiencing chest pains, so her daughter called for an ambulance. Listen to this. 20 minutes after she was taken to the hospital, a guy in a truck went off the road and hit her house, slamming into the spot she was sitting.
Yikes.
The chest pains saved her life. Doctors say they were likely caused by indigestion, so it wasn't a big deal. But if she had just said, it's fine, I'll be okay, the truck would have killed her.
Wow.
So thank goodness
Yeah,
she did
somebody
something.
was watching out for her.
And that was in Australia. That's really cool. A Welsh farmer shared a video of her 3-year-old daughter assisting with a lamb birthing by putting her arm into the ew's uterus. The video, posted to Facebook by the mother, Rachel Nicholas, shows the woman's 3-year-old daughter, Lily, rolling up her sleeve, inserting her arm into the ew's uterus to help move the lamb into the birthing position. And when she did it, people are saying it's adorable. When I did it, I was called a pervert and had to leave the petting zoo. I just don't get it.
Double standards.
Yeah, what's the deal? She's 3. And by the way, I didn't really do that. People. I was going to share that story on the radio, but I didn't know if our radio audience was ready for that. So, there you go, in your bonus break. And Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada. Mary Simpson's boyfriend was locked up in jail. So after a day of thought and planning, Mary hatched a plan to free him from incarceration. You know what the plan was?
What is that?
She says, I'm going to show up at the jail pretending to be a police officer with instructions to escort him to a different facility. That was the plan. This is what happened. The first suspicions were aroused when she arrived by herself to transfer the prisoner, because they don't do that, one person. Second, perhaps most importantly, she forgot that when impersonating a police officer, it might be a good idea to dress like a police officer.
Oh, man.
She showed up in jeans and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And the
They're gonna
third part
buy
of the
that.
plan didn't go so well because she was also arrested for impersonating an officer. So, hey, A for effort. F for everything else. So
Good
that did not
Lord.
work out too hot for you, did it? That's going to do it for your bonus break. Brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, you should check into this. CommercialMortgageBridgeLoans.com. They've got all the details. Again, CommercialMortgageBridgeLoans.com.